In a world where companies compete like sharks in bloodied waters, what if the smartest strategy is to swim in a sea of your own, calm, clear, and competition-free? Hello, and welcome to our summary of Blue Ocean Strategy. I am Mac, and today we're diving into one of the most influential business books of our time. Think about the last time you tried a product that genuinely surprised you. Something that didn't just improve on what came before, but actually gave you an experience you never knew you wanted. That's what Blue Ocean Strategy is all about. Written by INSEAD professors Renée Mauborgne and W. Chan Kim, this groundbreaking work challenges the conventional wisdom that business success comes from outperforming your rivals. Instead, it offers a systematic approach to making competition irrelevant by creating untapped market space where you can thrive alone. This is not just theoretical. The authors studied 150 strategic moves across 30 industries spanning over 100 years. What they discovered were consistent, repeatable patterns that separate market creators from those endlessly fighting over the same customers. Whether you are running a global corporation, launching a startup, or simply looking to approach your career differently, the principles we will explore today can transform how you think about value creation and competitive advantage. So let's begin our journey from the bloody red oceans of competition to the wide-open blue oceans of opportunity. Part 1. Red Oceans versus Blue Oceans. Imagine you're swimming in an ocean filled with other swimmers all racing toward the same shore. The water is red with blood as everyone elbows and kicks to get ahead. That's a red ocean. Red oceans represent all the industries that exist today, the known market space. Here, companies follow traditional, competitive rules. They try to grab a bigger share of existing demand. As more competitors enter, the water gets increasingly crowded, profits shrink, products become commodities, and the competition turns cutthroat. Think about the airline industry. For decades, carriers have battled over the same passengers by tweaking similar variables, slightly more legroom, marginally better meals, loyalty points, or simply lower prices. Despite enormous efforts, most airlines struggle with profitability, because they are all swimming in the same crowded red ocean. Now, imagine discovering an entirely new ocean, one that's vast, deep, and brilliantly blue. No other swimmers are in sight. This is what the authors call a blue ocean. Blue oceans represent untapped market space, industries that don't exist yet. Here, demand is created rather than fought over. There's opportunity for rapid, profitable growth because the rules are not yet written. You are not trying to beat the competition, you are making it irrelevant. Cirque du Soleil presents a perfect example. When the circus industry was declining with animal rights concerns rising and entertainment options multiplying, Cirque didn't try to compete head-on with Ringling Brothers. Instead, they created something entirely new. They eliminated costly elements, like animal shows and star performers. They reduced the humor and danger aspects of traditional circus. Then they raised the production values with theatrical lighting, original music, and artistic themes. Finally, they created sophisticated entertainment, with storylines and dance elements that traditional circuses never offered. The result? Cirque du Soleil attracted an entirely different audience. Adults willing to pay theater prices rather than traditional circus audiences, and created explosive growth in an otherwise dying industry. This brings us to the cornerstone concept of the book, Value Innovation. Part 2. Value Innovation, the Core Strategy. Value innovation is the beating heart of Blue Ocean Strategy. But what exactly does it mean? Most companies choose one of two paths. Either they focus on creating superior value at a higher cost, or they create reasonable value at a lower cost. In other words, they pursue either differentiation or low cost. Value innovation rejects this trade-off. It's about pursuing both differentiation and low cost simultaneously. It's achieved when your actions favorably affect both your cost structure and your value proposition to buyers. Let me make this concrete. with a simple example we can all relate to. Think about coffee shops before Starbucks came along. Traditional coffee shops offered basic coffee at low prices, cheap, but nothing special. High-end cafes in places like Italy offered excellent coffee but at premium prices. Starbucks created a blue ocean by doing something different. They offered premium coffee in an engaging third-place environment between work and home. They eliminated expensive restaurant elements while creating an experience that people would pay more for. The result was higher value at a manageable cost structure, a perfect example of value innovation. To help companies visualize and create value innovations, the authors introduced two important tools. First, the value curve, a graphic that shows how an industry performs across competitive factors. When you draw your value curve alongside competitors, you can instantly see where everyone is investing and competing in the same way. Second, the strategy canvas, a more comprehensive framework that not only visualizes the current state of play, but helps you reorient your focus toward alternatives and non-customers. Let's look at another real-world example. Southwest Airlines. While other airlines competed by offering meals, assigned seating, and using major airports, Southwest eliminated these features. Instead, they focused on frequent departures, friendly service, and point-to-point travel between secondary airports. By doing this, Southwest was not just a cheaper version of existing airlines. They created a fundamentally different experience that was more like a reliable bus service than a traditional airline. They attracted people who would normally drive, rather than just stealing customers from other airlines. This leads us to one of the book's most practical frameworks for creating your own blue ocean, the 4 Actions Framework. Part 3, the 4-Action Framework. Picture yourself as a chef. You've been hired to create a revolutionary new dish. Where do you start? You might begin by asking yourself, which ingredients should I remove entirely? Which should I use less of? Which deserve more emphasis? And what ingredients have never been used before that I should introduce? That's essentially what the 4 Actions Framework helps you do with your business offering. It poses 4 crucial questions that challenge the strategic logic of your industry. First, what factors should be eliminated? These are elements your industry has competed on for so long that they are taken for granted, even though they no longer add value or may actually reduce it. When Cirque du Soleil eliminated animal performances, they freed themselves from enormous costs in training housing and transporting animals. They also sidestepped growing ethical concerns about animal entertainment. By questioning this essential element of circus, they dramatically changed their cost structure and appeal. Second, what factors should be reduced well below the industry standard? These are features or services that have been over-designed in the race to match competition, but actually deliver diminishing returns. Think about how Japanese compact cars reduced engine power and interior space compared to American cars. They were not trying to win on those dimensions, they were deliberately scaling back to focus elsewhere. Third, what factors should be raised well above the industry standard? These are elements where a significant lift would create unprecedented value. When Apple created the original iPhone, they dramatically raised the bar on user interface and design areas that existing mobile phone makers had treated as secondary to technical specifications. What factors should be created that the industry has never offered? These are entirely new sources of value for buyers. When Netflix first launched their streaming service, they created something unprecedented: instant access to thousands of movies without late fees, due dates, or the need to leave your home. Imagine drawing these 4 questions as a grid on paper. As you fill in your answers, you are essentially creating a blueprint for a new value curve, one that looks nothing like what already exists in your industry. The power of this framework lies in its simplicity. By answering these 4 questions, honestly, you force yourself to simultaneously pursue differentiation and low cost. You eliminate and reduce factors that don't add sufficient value while raising and creating elements that deliver exceptional value. Let's bring this to life. With an example we can all understand: ClassPass. Before ClassPass, if you wanted fitness variety, you had to join multiple gyms or studios and pay multiple memberships. ClassPass eliminated long-term commitments and reduced the emphasis on single-location loyalty. They raised convenience and variety, while creating an entirely new booking platform that connected studios with empty slots to customers seeking flexibility. The result? A blue ocean that attracted both fitness enthusiasts who wanted variety and occasional exercisers who feared commitment, many of whom were non-consumers of boutique fitness before. This brings us to another key insight of Blue Ocean strategy: the importance of reaching beyond existing demand. Part 4. Reaching beyond existing demand. Here's a question for you. What's better than winning your competitors' customers? Answer: finding customers that never existed in the first place. Most companies focus intensely on retaining their current customers, and perhaps stealing some from competitors. Blue Ocean strategy takes a radically different approach by focusing on non-customers, the people who currently don't buy what your industry is selling. The authors identify 3 tiers of non-customers that represent huge potential markets. First, tier soon to be non-customers. These are people who use your industry's offerings minimally and are ready to jump ship. They are on the edge of your market, using your products or services reluctantly. Think of people who use taxis only when absolutely necessary, because they find them expensive and inconvenient. Uber and Lyft turned many of these reluctant taxi users into regular rideshare customers by addressing their pain points. Second tier, refusing non-customers. These people have actively chosen not to use your industry's offerings because they find them unacceptable or beyond their means. Consider how many people actively avoided going to the gym because they found the environment intimidating or the contracts too binding. Planet Fitness created a blue ocean with their judgment-free zone, specifically targeting these gym avoiders. Third tier, unexplored non-customers. These people have never even considered your industry's offerings as an option. Before Peloton, many busy professionals never considered home exercise equipment as a viable alternative to gym memberships or fitness classes. Peloton created a blue ocean by making home exercise socially connected and instructor-led, something previously unimagined. Nintendo Wii offers another perfect example. While Sony and Microsoft battled for hardcore gamers with increasingly powerful consoles, Nintendo created a blue ocean by targeting people who had never considered themselves gamers, families, seniors, and casual users who were drawn to the Wii. Its intuitive motion controls and social games. By focusing on commonalities across these non-customers, rather than diving deeper into existing users' preferences, you can unlock tremendous growth potential. The key insight is that expanding the market is often more profitable than increasing your share of an existing one. But creating a compelling blue ocean concept isn't enough. You need to build it in the right sequence to ensure success. 5. Sequence of blue ocean strategy. Have you ever had a brilliant idea that somehow fell flat in execution? The authors found that successful blue ocean strategies follow a particular sequence that maximizes their chances of commercial success. It works like a series of checkpoints, and each one needs a yes before moving to the next. First checkpoint: buyer utility. Does your offering deliver exceptional utility to the buyer? Does it solve a significant problem or create significant opportunities for them? Consider Uber's initial concept: press a button, get a ride. It solved genuine pain points around hailing cabs carrying cash and uncertain wait times. That's exceptional utility. If your idea doesn't pass this test, rework it until it does. Second, checkpoint price. Is your offering priced to attract the mass of target buyers? Strategic pricing is not just about what the market will bear, it's about what will create widespread adoption. Spotify set their premium subscription at about the price of 1 CD per month, intentionally making streaming music an obvious value proposition compared to traditional music ownership. Third checkpoint: Cost. Can you deliver your offering at a profit with your target cost structure? This is where many blue ocean attempts fail. The vision is compelling but economically unsustainable. IKEA's flat-pack furniture model works because the cost savings from customer self-assembly and pickup enable their attractive pricing while maintaining healthy margins. Fourth checkpoint: adoption. What obstacles to adoption exist, and how will you address them? These might include resistance from employees, partners, or the public. When Airbnb launched, they had to overcome both host concerns about property damage and guest concerns about safety. Their review systems and insurance guarantees were specifically designed to address these adoption hurdles. The beauty of following this sequence is that it forces you to create a complete viable strategy rather than just an interesting concept. Each step builds on the previous one, creating a logical progression from inspiration to executable reality. Let me give you a practical example. Warby Parker identified that eyeglasses offered exceptional utility, but were overpriced for what they were. They set a disruptive price point of $95, including prescription lenses well below the industry standard. They achieved this price while maintaining profitability by selling directly to consumers and eliminating licensing fees. And they overcame the adoption hurdle of people's reluctance to buy glasses online by creating a home try-on program. By working through each step in sequence, they created a blue ocean that transformed the eyewear industry. But even the best strategy on paper can fail in execution if organizational hurdles aren't addressed. Part 6. Overcoming organizational hurdles. Let's be honest, change is hard. Even the most brilliant blue ocean strategy will face resistance within your organization. The book identifies 4 specific hurdles you'll need to overcome. The first hurdle is cognitive. People need to recognize why change is necessary. The problem is most employees are comfortable with the status quo and don't see the need for a strategic shift. The authors suggest bringing decision-makers face-to-face with customers' problems and dissatisfactions. When Netflix was transitioning from DVDs to streaming, they had leaders spend time with customers struggling with DVD returns and disappointment when popular titles weren't available, experiencing firsthand why the existing model needed evolution. The second hurdle is limited resources. We all face constraints on budget, staff, and time, especially when proposing something new and unproven. Rather than asking for more resources, the authors recommend redistributing existing resources. Focus on hotspots activities that require minimal resources but yield maximum results, and cold spots activities that consume lots of resources but produce minimal returns. The third hurdle is motivation. How do you get people excited about executing the new strategy? The key here is to focus on kingpins, key influencers in your organization, rather trying to motivate everyone simultaneously. Also make strategic goals concrete and visible. When you break large targets into small, visible actions, people feel a sense of progress that fuels further motivation. The fourth hurdle is politics. Every organization has internal opposition and turf wars that can derail new initiatives. To overcome this, identify and leverage your angels, silence your devils, and appoint a consigliere, a respected insider who understands the organization's politics and can help you navigate them. The authors call this approach tipping point leadership, inspired by Malcolm Gladwell's concept that small, well-focused actions can create dramatic change. Consider how New York City dramatically reduced crime in the 1990s. Rather than trying to address all crime simultaneously, they focused on visible broken windows issues and specific subway stations. This concentrated effort yielded results that built momentum for broader changes. For your own blue ocean initiatives, this means choosing your battles carefully. Don't try to change everything at once. Find a strategic showcase where your new approach can demonstrate visible success. Then use that success to fuel broader adoption. Another powerful tool for overcoming resistance is what the authors call fair process, Which brings us to our next section. Part 7. Building execution into strategy. Imagine you have spent months developing the perfect blue ocean strategy. The analysis is sound. The value innovation is compelling, and the numbers add up. But when implementation begins, you hit an invisible wall of passive resistance. People nod in meetings, but don't follow through. Deadlines slip. Enthusiasm wanes. What went wrong? According to Mauborgne and Kim, the missing ingredient might be fair process, a concept that recognizes that how you develop and implement strategy matters just as much as what the strategy is. Research shows that people care deeply about the process used to reach decisions that affect them. When they feel the process was fair, even if they don't love the outcome, they are far more likely to cooperate in execution. Fair process has 3 key elements, which the authors call the 3E principles. Engagement means involving people in decisions that affect them. This doesn't mean democratic voting on every issue, but genuinely seeking input and allowing people to refute assumptions and suggest alternatives. When Microsoft was developing the Xbox, they engaged gaming enthusiasts, including their own employees, in testing and refining the concept, creating both better decisions and a sense of ownership. Explanation means that everyone involved and affected understands why decisions were made. When people know the reasoning and rules behind decisions, especially difficult ones, they are more likely to accept them. When Adobe shifted from selling software outright to subscription-based Creative Cloud, they clearly explained to both customers and employees why this change was necessary for long-term sustainability, helping overcome initial resistance. Expectation clarity involves clearly defining the new rules of the game. Everyone should understand what's expected of them and how they'll be evaluated under the new strategy. When Zappos implemented their famous customer service approach, they didn't just tell employees to make customers happy. They created clear guidelines about empowerment to solve problems, eliminated call time metrics, and explicitly rewarded exceptional service stories. When you combine these 3 elements, you create intellectual and emotional recognition of the merits of the strategy. People trust the process and feel a genuine commitment to execution, not just compliance. This matters enormously because blue ocean strategies often require people to operate in unfamiliar ways. Sales teams may need to target different customers. Engineers might need to design with different priorities. Customer service representatives could face entirely new types of questions. Without fair process, these changes trigger anxiety, distrust, and reluctance. With fair process, they spark excitement, buy-in, and voluntary cooperation. But what happens after you've successfully created your blue ocean? How do you maintain your advantage? Part 8. Blue Ocean Shift, Sustainability, and Renewal. So you have done it. You have created your blue ocean, and business is booming. But there's a question that should be keeping you up at night. How long will this last? Every blue ocean eventually attracts our imitators. The clarity of your success becomes the blueprint for your competition. So how do you sustain your advantage? The first line of defense is what the authors call barriers to imitation. Unlike patent, protection, or exclusive resources, these barriers emerge from the integrated nature of your blue ocean strategy. Think about it this way. It's relatively easy to copy one aspect of someone else's offering, but copying a completely integrated activity system is much harder. Take IKEA. Competitors can copy their flat-pack furniture design. They can imitate their room displays. They can even match their prices. But replicating IKEA's entire system, the specific store layout, the self-service warehouse, the in-store restaurants, the globally consistent experience, and the design manufacturing integration is extraordinarily difficult. This is because true blue ocean strategies are not just different products, they are different activity systems where each element reinforces the others. The second sustainability factor is the brand reputation you build as the creator of the blue ocean. When you successfully create a new market space, your brand becomes synonymous with it, creating a powerful advantage. Think of how Uber became synonymous with ride-sharing, or how GoPro defined the action camera category. This first-mover brand advantage can persist long after competitors enter the space. But perhaps the most important sustainability strategy is to view blue ocean creation not as a one-time event, but as an ongoing process. This is where many companies fail. They create a successful blue ocean, then focus all their energy on defending it rather than looking for the next one. Apple provides the perfect counterexample. They didn't just create the revolutionary iPod and then defend it for decades. They cannibalized their own success by creating the iPhone, which made many iPod functions obsolete. Then they created the iPad, opening yet another blue ocean. This willingness to make your own innovations obsolete before someone else does is at the heart of sustained blue ocean leadership. To institutionalize this process, you need to build blue ocean thinking into your organizational DNA. This means creating processes that regularly challenge industry assumptions, rewarding value innovation, not just performance, within existing parameters. Developing metrics that track new market to creation, not just market share. Building diverse teams that bring multiple perspectives to strategic conversations. Netflix exemplifies this approach. They began by creating a blue ocean in DVD rentals. When streaming technology emerged, rather than defending their DVD business, they created a new blue ocean in streaming content. When that space grew crowded, they pivoted again to creating original content, each time making their previous business model less relevant. The lesson is clear. The most sustainable competitive advantage is the ability to create new competitive advantages repeatedly. Conclusion: as we reach the end of our journey through blue ocean strategy, let's bring together the key insights that can transform your approach to business, regardless of your industry or role. The central message is both simple and profound. Don't compete, create. Instead of fighting over existing customers in blood-red oceans, chart a course to blue oceans, where you can make competition irrelevant. This isn't just inspirational thinking. It's a systematic approach with concrete tools and frameworks that anyone can apply. So let's turn these insights into action with 5 key steps you can take starting today. First, map your industry's value curve. Draw out what factors your industry currently competes on and how each player, including yourself, invests in these factors. This visual exercise alone often reveals surprising similarities among supposed competitors and hints at opportunities to stand apart. Second, apply the 4 actions framework. Identify elements to eliminate, reduce, raise, and create. Challenge every aspect of your business model, asking whether it truly creates value for customers or simply follows industry convention. Third, focus on non-customers. Look beyond your current market to the 3 tiers of non-customers we discussed. What prevents them from using your industry's offerings? What universal pain points or desires exist across these groups? The biggest opportunities often lie with people who are not your customers yet. Fourth, ensure your strategy is executable by following the proper sequence. Check that your concept delivers exceptional utility at a strategic price with a viable cost structure and has clear plans to overcome adoption hurdles. Finally, build a culture that embraces blue ocean thinking. Use fair process to engage peoples, explain decisions, and clarify expectations. Create systems that regularly challenge assumptions and reward value innovation. Let me leave you with this thought. The future doesn't belong to those who fight over scraps in crowded markets. It belongs to those with the courage and creativity to sail into blue oceans of opportunity. In a world of increasing competition and disruption, the ability to create new market space isn't just a competitive advantage, it's a survival skill. Whether you're leading a global corporation, running a small business, or managing your own career, the principles of Blue Ocean Strategy offer a powerful alternative to the zero-sum thinking that dominates much of our business landscape. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of Blue Ocean Strategy by Renée Mauborgne and W. Chan Kim. I hope you'll take these ideas and create your own blue oceans of opportunity. This is Mac for Financial Insights. Condensed, until next time, keep innovating and creating value.